Hi, my name's Rob and I'm here to talk to you about fake news. In this video, we're going to discuss how to conduct research to filter out fake news and how to find quality sources of information, making you just that much more awesome. So you want to be able to conduct research on your own, fact check on your own, to find good sources of information, not just weed out bad sources of information. Well, the place to start is actually the end, and by the end.com, but there are many other different kinds of sites out there. In fact, there are better sites out there. Let's take a look. .com. So this is what we most often think of when we think of websites on the internet. However, they are not the best source of information because their primary goal is to make you purchase something or buy something. The com stands for commercial, meaning money. Now, it doesn't mean that all .coms are horrible. There might be some information in a .com that you could use to conduct another search for. However, I would not cite a .com as a source of information. Government websites, or .gov. Now, government websites can be very useful. They can provide primary sources of information, historical documents, statistical information, and government records. Organizations.org. Organizations are open to interpretation, meaning it really depends on the organization that you're looking at. You have to do some homework. Some organizations are very good sources of information, while others are very biased. Something else to consider, you don't need to prove that you are a nonprofit or an organization at all in order to purchase a website and throw on .org at the end. Education. So I made education the stop sign because this is really the best source of information. If you're looking at research or information written by a PhD, this should be reliable information because it should be peer-reviewed, all sources should be cited, and someone's reputation is on the line. However, you still need to do a little bit of screening. Make sure that's not a K-12 website. Make sure that is not a blog or some type of class website, and be sure that you're not looking at student work. No offense, but we want to make sure that we're looking at the experts. So now we know that there are many different kinds of websites out there, and they are not all created equal. How do we find these websites in a sea of internet cat videos and commercials? It's easy. Okay, so I'm at a web browser. I'm using Google. You can use whatever you'd like. What I want to do though is for Google, I'm going to navigate down to the bottom right where it says Settings and click on Settings. And the setting that I want to look at is Advanced Search. So let me go to Advanced Search and click on that. And so from Advanced Search, you see Find Pages With. I can put in specific phrases here. I could put in exact words or phrases if I wanted to. And if I continue scrolling down, this is the important part. I can narrow down what type of site or domain the search is going to result in. So I could put in .edu, and I'm only going to get education websites. Let's try it. Let's go ahead and conduct this advanced search. And so once I get through the ads, it's important to know advertisements are usually on the top. You see I have a library from Harvard, Berkeley University, Cornell University, so very, very good sources of information. Okay, so I'm back at the web browser, and I'm going to show you a quick way of conducting an advanced search. So I'm going to put in the phrase or words I'm looking for, and then cite, and then whatever it is that I'd like to see, gov, education, org. And you'll see that the results are going to be the same as they were when we conducted that advanced search. So there's that Harvard site, Berkeley site, Cornell, etc. The next question should be this. Okay, Rob, I get it. Education websites are great sources of information, but they don't break news, and I want to know about or cite current events. How do I find good sources from news sites or even know if the news site is reliable in the first place? I'll show you. Here we are at a New York Times article, and you can see that up near the top, the New York Times. This is a portion of that paper called The Upshot. So let me scroll down, and here's the title of the article and the author. Researchers create fake news. Here's what they found. Neil Irwin, and we have a date. So this is all good. However, I would not use this as a source. This is good for context. And this is good for context because I'll show you what this includes. So while we go through and what this is about, it's Mr. Irwin giving us basically his opinion, right? It's an editorial about this topic. But if we go down, we see that things are blue, and that means that they are links. And these are links to other articles. This is the good link that we could actually use for a source. So let's click on this link. And so here we go. Now this is loading, and this is actually the information or the source of information that the author used for his article. And this is what we'd want to use. This is what we would cite if we were creating a paper, or if we were conducting research, this is what we would look at. This is the actual content. And I'll scroll down to the end, and you can see the difference because this is academic. Now, we don't necessarily need to read all of it. However, if we scroll down near the bottom, we see the methodology that was used. And so this is important because it's telling us how it came to these conclusions. Okay, very nice. So this should be peer reviewed, all the methodologies are there, and this is what you can look at to form your opinion, as opposed to allowing someone else to write about this and interject their own opinion. Basically, we want to be sure that the author of the content that we're reviewing is an expert in the field and that the site that we're reviewing is reputable. Now, there are some other miscellaneous things to look at, so let's check them out. Parody sites. It's okay, they're just a joke. And you can usually tell this right off the bat. So a popular parody site would be theonion.com. Open source. Wikipedia. So what's wrong with Wikipedia? Well, the problem is that you can't always verify who the author is or determine whether or not the author is an expert in the field. Oftentimes things are not cited as well. Anybody can go into these websites and alter the information at any time. Mimic sites. So an example of a mimic site might be something like nbcnews.com.co or nbcnewslo.com. They're trying to pretend to be something they're not. And no, memes do not count, people. Okay, here's a list of some other things to keep an eye on. Blogs. Now, blogs, once again, can be good for context, but they're opinions. It can be a starting point, but don't cite that or don't stop your research there. If there's no author, that's obviously a problem. If there are no sources, if everything is just purely opinion, that's a problem. If there are sources, but they link back to other articles from within the same website, that's a red flag. If you conduct research on this website and you can't find anything about it on the internet, it's unknown, then you might try to find that information elsewhere to double check. And then crazy headlines. So for instance, a crazy headline might be something like, Politician A destroys Politician B. There are fact-check sites out there for you, and there are lists of fake news sites as well. However, I will get to that later. Let me get on my soapbox here for a moment. You will find many fact-check websites and lists online. They usually include political websites or opinionated websites on their fake news list, and this is not accurate. Almost anything presented outside of a .edu or purely statistical source of information is going to include some bias. It's actually dangerous to broaden the definition of fake news to include potentially biased sites because that creates an environment in which individuals can simply dismiss information they disagree with based on who the messenger is. That shuts down civil discourse and silences the public discussion necessary for our democracy to function properly. At the end of the day, you'll be better informed if you know how to find a good source of information and if you know how to verify that source, as opposed to relying on others to do so for you. Now, if you like this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button, and if you'd like to learn more, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.